Have you ever stared at one of those, really powerful enterprise systems, maybe for HR or talent management, and just felt completely lost? Like looking at a massive city map with no guide. These tools they're the backbone for big strategic decisions. But how do you actually get past all the jargon and understand how they really work? How they empower the organization? Well, today on the Deep Dive, that's exactly our mission. We want to cut through that complexity. We're exploring the core bits of SAP SuccessFactors Succession Management. And here's the clever part, our shortcut, if you will. Our source material comes from a pretty insightful place, practice questions and their explanations from a professional certification exam, specifically the CTHR 2505 exam, which is like the latest one for this module. So it gives us direct access to real-world scenarios, best practices. Think of it as a fast track to understanding how this stuff is actually applied. Because these aren't just, abstract questions. They often pose real dilemmas, making you think how you'd use the software to fix a problem.
That's exactly right. And by unpacking these specific scenarios, these tools, at this level of detail, you're not just learning definitions. Not at all. You're really gaining a practical feel for how leading organizations actually identify, develop, and crucially, retain their future leaders. So our goal isn't just the what, it's the why. Why these specific tools are frankly essential for an agile and effective talent strategy today.
Okay, let's jump straight in then. A foundational tool, maybe the first thing you see, the talent card. This is often your initial touch point for sizing up someone's capabilities in the system. Our source material highlights its main job. Give you a quick sort of at-a-glance overview of an employee's talent profile, pulls together the key info skills, competencies, performance ratings, all into one screen. Right.
Exactly. And the real power there, it isn't just the speed, though that's helpful. It's more about democratizing those talent insights a bit. It lets line managers, for instance, proactively spot internal folks for maybe smaller projects or immediate needs before HR has to get deeply involved. That really speeds things up, makes talent deployment more agile. Think of it like a strategic executive summary for individual talent right in your pocket almost.
Okay, so you got that quick snapshot. What's the next step? Looking at talent more broadly, maybe, and this is where, the matrix grid report comes in. This is more than just a basic report, isn't it? It's a dynamic tool, visually plotting employees based on performance and potential, usually that classic 9-box grid we see a lot. And it's designed specifically to help pinpoint, high performers, high potentials, future leaders, the core of succession planning.
Oh, absolutely. That 9-box grid, it's really a cornerstone for strategic talent ID in many companies. It's powerful, yeah. But it does raise that important question. How do you make sure it's objective? When you're plotting people on such a critical grid, typically this involves things like robust calibration sessions, where managers actually discuss and align on the ratings. And having clear, predefined criteria helps minimize that individual bias. The tool gives you the framework, but it's the human process around it that ensures fairness and effectiveness. That's key.
Right. The process matters. So, okay, you've identified and assessed your talent using these tools. How do you then see these insights across the whole organization? Especially for succession. You'd probably be looking at the succession org chart. But our source points out, just to see that chart, you need something specific. It's called the succession org chart permission. This permission is what actually controls who gets access to this powerful visualization, the one showing all the succession relationships across the structure.
And this really highlights that critical balance, doesn't it, between visibility and confidentiality. Limiting access makes sure that sensitive succession data, and it is sensitive, is only seen by authorized people. That's absolutely paramount for maintaining trust, privacy in those talent discussions. It ensures that strategic succession planning stays, a controlled and confidential process.
Makes sense. And speaking of visuals, there's another one mentioned, the position tile view. Our sources explain this gives you a tile-based display, shows positions alongside their nominated successors. It's designed to make it super easy to see your succession coverage and, maybe more importantly, spot any gaps just at a glance.
Yeah, the beauty of this view is just how intuitive it makes complex organizational mapping. It really simplifies it visually. So for you, maybe as a leader, it means you can quickly grasp where your succession plans are looking strong and, crucially, where you might have vulnerabilities. Maybe a key role with only one successor, or maybe none at all. That needs immediate attention, right? It's a very practical way to check the resilience of your talent pipeline.
It's very practical, yeah. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about tailoring the system itself. If you're an administrator, and you want to fine-tune that whole nomination process, you're going to be working in managed business configuration. This sounds like the the control center for customizing the system to fit your company's specific needs. This is where admins configure which fields show up in those nomination portlets, those little windows where you input the nomination details and how they behave. So lots of customization potential here to align with business requirements.
Oh, absolutely critical. Customization is key for aligning the system with your unique business processes, not someone else's. It means the system genuinely supports your specific talent strategy rather than, forcing you into some generic rigid box. And this architectural flexibility, which tools like Managed Business Configuration enable, it effectively future-proofs your talent strategy. You can adapt to new talent needs down the line without ripping everything out and starting over. That's huge.
Right, future-proofing. And building on that flexibility, there's a feature that sounds particularly clever, role-based nomination. This seems like where the system's power really starts to show. Our source highlights its unique aspect, letting you plan succession at the job role level. So instead of being tied strictly to one specific position, like marketing manager North America, it focuses on a generic role, maybe just marketing manager, that multiple people could potentially fill.
More flexible.
Exactly. And this signifies a really strategic shift, moving away from those fixed position-centric structures towards something more agile, a role-based approach to deploying talent. Just imagine maybe a fast-growing tech company needing to fill, say, 10 identical junior developer roles. Role-based nomination could save them weeks compared to planning for each individual position separately. So for you, listening, this means building a workforce that's just more flexible, more adaptable to changing organizational needs, and, let's face it, dynamic business environments. That adaptability sounds crucial. Okay, so someone gets nominated for a role, maybe through role-based nomination. How do you track if they're actually, ready to step up? That's where the readiness field comes in, apparently. Our source explains its function is simply indicating how soon a nominated successor is ready for the role. And this helps organizations prioritize development actions, succession moves, based on those timelines. Ready now, ready in 1-2 years, that kind of thing.
And that field, it's not just a status indicator, it's really a critical call to action for talent development. It directly informs your proactive development planning, how you address skill gaps. For instance, if someone's tagged as ready in 1-2 years, that immediately signals, okay, we need specific training, maybe a stretch assignment, some targeted experience for this person. It ensures your resources are strategically allocated to actually prepare those future leaders. It turns the insight into a concrete, actionable plan.
Turning insight into action. I like that. So what's underpinning all this flexibility we've been talking about, especially with creating and managing these dynamic talent pools? It seems to boil down to a crucial technical piece, the metadata framework, or MDF. Our source explains that MDF is what enables creating and using custom talent pools based on these things called MDF objects, which are essentially like custom data structures you build yourself. This apparently allows for much more dynamic, configurable talent pool management compared to maybe older, more rigid systems.
Yeah, MDF is absolutely the engine enabling so much of this flexibility and dynamism we're seeing. It's the architectural foundation. It lets you create really sophisticated custom talent categories that precisely fit your organization's structure and strategic needs. And this isn't just about, adding a few custom fields here and there. It's about fundamentally being able to alter the definition of what a position or a talent pool can be within your system. That's a massive shift. It gives you unparalleled flexibility, really.
Okay, so MDF is the engine. And closely related, there's the MDF position object. According to our source, this specific object is what defines the structure, the essential details of all the positions used in succession planning. It serves as that foundational building block, basically, to manage and represent job positions consistently within the system.
And the precision you get from a foundational object like the MDF position object, it dictates so much about your strategic planning downstream. It provides the blueprint, effectively, for every single role in your organization. It ensures every position is accurately defined, mapped, which is just crucial for effective talent matching and, longer-term workforce planning.
The blueprint for every role, yeah. Okay, finally, let's talk about finding the right talent within these pretty sophisticated systems. How do you actually search efficiently? This is where talent search becomes really indispensable. Our source details that this feature, it needs to be configured properly, but then it lets you search for employees based on custom attributes. Things like specific language skills, maybe professional certifications, even particular project experience someone might have. This allows for incredibly precise candidate identification, whether it's for a specific open role or maybe a targeted development program.
Right. And this capability, it lets organizations really leverage granular data for optimal talent matching. It's much more powerful than basic searches. So, for example, instead of just searching for, say, manager, you could find a manager with specific leadership competencies who's fluent in Mandarin and has experience leading global teams. Much more specific. It means you're moving beyond just basic job titles to finding that perfect fit based on really specific, nuanced skills and capabilities. And that's invaluable when you're trying to fill critical roles or build specialized teams.
That level of precision sounds amazing.
You should now have a much more robust understanding of how these systems really support critical decision-making, and that's just invaluable for any organization trying to navigate today's pretty dynamic talent landscape.
Absolutely. So as you think about optimizing talent, maybe in your own context, your own organization, consider this. How can understanding these structured systems actually empower more, let's say, human-centric and future-proof talent decisions, going beyond just the tech capabilities?
Yeah.
What new possibilities really open up when you have this kind of insight at your fingertips?
Yeah.
And how might you apply that to build a more agile, a more resilient workforce where you are? Something to think about, right?